Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Media Buff Guys, the podcast about anything and everything media related. I'm your host, Ed, and with me are the boys, Mr. Matt and Mr. Omar. Say hello, fellas.
Get in, loser. We're going to do butt stuff.
Oh, my God.
Hey, ladies. How you doing? You drinking water? Getting enough sleep? Gotta get that beauty rest, right?
Yeah, no ladies for this episode. It's just the guys. And for this episode, we're going to be talking about books that we think would make pretty good video games. And we'll go in depth on this specific game that we would like to see that book turned into. But before we begin, a quick word from our affiliate, Maono. Maono is a leading company in budget-friendly microphones. They sell in over 150 countries. We're using them right now because that's who's technically sponsoring our show. And right now they do have a summer end sale, which I think ends next Sunday as of recording this episode. They have a lot of items marked down up to 25%. And if you use code word MediaBuff,
25%?
yeah, you can get an additional
way.
10% off. So definitely check them out. I'll leave an affiliate link on my YouTube page. If not, you can just go on our social media at the Media Buff Guys. We do now have a link tree for that, so you can explore all our other crap that we have.
And
there.
our Instagram.
Yeah, IG. Yeah, the Media Buff Guys.
I thought you said
IG.
Linktree.
No, yeah, our IG has a link tree. Media Buff Guys has a link tree where you can go and check out our affiliate, check out my channel, and check out any other stuff that I have attached to it. So definitely check it out. DM us if you have any ideas or any other stuff or any topics or just comments. So with that being said, Omar, you're taking point on this episode. Tell us a book you want to see get turned into a video game and what kind of video game you want it to be.
Well, I was thinking about this over the past couple of weeks, and then I just remembered I was going through my video game collection, and I came across Dante's Inferno.
I remember
for the PS3.
That game.
Oh my god, that game was actually really fucking fun. It was very Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Really? I thought it was more like DMC.
No, because he had whip type weapon. Plus he also had holy attacks. So
okay.
It's
a brawler, though. Like Devil May Cry and Slaughterhouse.
Devil May Cry is a hack and slash. Get it right. A brawler is a side-scrolling, kind of like the Ninja Turtles. Turtles Time.
The one over the overview.
But there's also Splatterhouse.
Splatterhouse is a shooter, ain't it?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, finish your thought.
Fact of the matter is, it's not a brawler. It's a it's more akin to a hack and slash.
Okay.
Because you could combo it and everything like that. But anyway, from what people don't know is that Dante's Inferno is part of a 3 epic poem by Dante Alighieri. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily anything action related, but it's about the main character Dante going through the 9 realms of hell, Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
But what the people did, the producers of the game, they turned that concept into an action type game,
and they did a really good job.
It was really graphic, and the realms of hell that they created were beautifully created.
Yeah, not just that, they touched on the actual realms where Dante has to go through.
Yeah, like
including one with aborted fetuses.
Yeah, they embellish on the story obviously for the gameplay but like they still kind of kept true to the idea of Dante's Inferno, the book. So I was thinking, what other books or like classical literature stories would make a good adaptation in a similar vein? Although it doesn't, my question for you guys would be the same thing, but it doesn't have to be an action type game. It could be a puzzle. It could be like tap and click, kind of like Heavy Rain, kind of stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
point and click.
Yeah. So for me, I thought about classical literature, and then I thought about modern literature, and I came up with 2 of them. First one, I would love to see the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher be created into a game. Mm-hmm. It would make an amazing combination of action and detective work, because it's
it would be a very noir game.
Yeah, because the main character Harry Dresden he's a wizard in modern day Chicago.
Yeah,
and in every book,
was a Potter.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
And every book can be easily adapted into a game, or it could just be an RPG style, an open world RPG with.
Yeah, you can have a GTA style if you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the main story the main book that I want to see recreated into a video game would be the Odyssey.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, when you said that, the Odyssey would
So
make
you
a
get to be
fantastic video game.
Odysseus?
Odysseus, yeah.
So it could be Odysseus.
Getting back to his wife, Helena.
Freaking no, I don't.
Is it Helena?
No,
I thought it was
No.
Helena was from Troy.
Oh yeah, that is Troy. Yeah.
Helen of Troy.
Yeah, I forget what his wife's name was, but he's
Is
from
it
Ithaca.
Margaret?
It's not. It's going to be a Greek name. Margaret isn't.
Is actually, it actually is Greek.
That's like such a basic name.
Still Greek.
Margaret.
Yeah. But regardless, the Odyssey,
Penelope.
Yeah. Regardless, the Odyssey would make a fantastic game.
Yeah, especially because Odysseus is coming back from the Trojan War, and I think it's a 10-year travel.
It is
from Troy back to his home in Ithaca because he pissed off Poseidon, saying that he didn't need him.
He didn't want to have to do a tribute to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know the story of Homer's Odyssey, definitely check it out. It's a good
Or
story.
go watch Brother Art Thou.
Oh, that is technically the Odyssey.
It is. That movie is based off the Odyssey.
Yeah. It's basically a man trying to get home and the gods.
It is based off the Odyssey.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but that's the story of the Odyssey.
But the things that Odysseus has to go through with him and his men, all the freaking trials and all the monsters,
and he loses a lot of them too.
He loses everybody.
Oh yeah, he does lose everybody.
Yeah. Like he fights. He ends up facing off against the Harpies, the Sirens, Scylla, and Charybdis, Calypso's island, the Cyclops. There's so many mythical creatures that he fights off, or he goes up against, that it could be easily made into an action game very similar to Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, and not just that. At the end of the story, when he gets home, he still has to fight off a bunch of other guys.
Yep.
Which, with the help of his son, mind you.
Hey, do you remember that one made for TV movie about?
I love that movie.
I have it at home, and
especially the part where it's like, I'm nobody.
Yep. You know that the guy who played Odysseus in that movie is the bad guy from the Judge Dredd movie with Stallone?
Oh, that is him. Yes, that is him.
Rika.
Yeah, that is Rika. No. If they have him voice him again, that would be cool.
That would be
game.
Great. Yes.
Yeah, especially because he's a good actor and he's got a good voice.
Yeah, when we're prepping for, or when I was prepping for this episode, I ended up going on YouTube and watching that fight scene where he's in the throne room and killing off all
with his son,
and a bunch of his like
that scene. Even to this now is just ingrained in my head because one thing that Penelope had put for the suitors that were trying to get at her, they had to be able to put his bow back together.
Yeah, to string his bow, because no one was able to do that except him.
And not just that, they had to shoot an arrow through 10 rings.
Was it 10 or 20
10 rings the size of a quarter.
Yep.
And lo and behold, a scraggly guy comes in. It's Homer.
No,
I call him Homer because they call it Homer's Odyssey. And nobody knows it's him except Penelope.
No, his son knows.
Oh, his son knew too? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then he strings it up. The way he does it too is so cool, dude. Like bending his knee into it and then just snapping it out. And then for the record, that had to be at least a 50-pound bow.
At least. I think it was a horns ram too or something.
It is a horns ram.
I would say like a bow like that would probably be like a 75 to 100 pound draw.
Either way, he pulls that thing so easily and then reveals himself, slaughters everybody in the room, tells Penelope to
yeah, Penelope is hiding in with the her handmaidens. Yeah. But one of the handmaidens ends up running away because she's in love with one of the main suitor dude.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So she runs out. The main suitor is trying to run away as well because he's about to
they're gonna die. Yeah.
Freaking. I think it was either Odysseus or his son. He ends up grabbing a spear, throwing it, and right when the doors open and the two of them.
Yes, I remember that. He pierces both of them. That was his son. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen that movie, definitely check it out. But going with that format and then making that into the game, that would be bad.
I would love that because obviously Odysseus' main weapon is going to be his sword and then the bow, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he gunned down a couple of them with that thing. He was doing rapid fire with that thing. Again, 100-pound bow, very hard to do.
So that's my take. Like I would, even if it was the embellished version of like it doesn't have to be because in the story, it's not like that at all.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, like Odysseus in the story actually uses his noggin a lot to make it very smart guy. To make it past these monsters and stuff. Usually, he did it a lot without ever picking up a weapon or ever having a fight.
But he is a soldier because he was in the Battle of Troy.
Yeah, I mean, he is no slouch when it comes to combat, but like
he uses brain.
He was very tactical.
He was one of the like his stories is one of like of cunning, will, and determination. It's a very good story.
So there's already like an like basically take the framework of like God of War or Castlevania with Batman's detective work, the Arkham games. And there you go.
And if you do it in the style of Dante's Inferno, it would look fantastic. Oh, yes. Even now with today's graphics.
I wouldn't mind having the same company who did Dante's Inferno. Who did that?
Santa Monica Studios, I think.
Let's see. Let me check it out.
Yeah. It was definitely a very small company.
Watch it be EA.
No.
No way,
Actually,
dude.
Yeah, it's published by EA.
No, published.
But the developer is Visceral Games.
Visceral, that's what it was.
Which is an EA company. At the time, it was. Visceral is that they made a couple of really good games, and one of them was Dead Space.
Yeah, they made Dead Space.
And then because Dead Space 2 didn't sell so well, or Dead Space 3, they completely.
That killed the franchise.
No, it didn't kill the franchise. EA decided to get rid of Visceral Games and break up.
In 2015, that was their last published game. But regardless, that's a good story, and that's a good idea.
If Visceral Games was actually going to make a sequel to the Dante's Inferno game called Dante's Paradise or Dante's Purgatory, which is the second book in the trilogy of the Divine Comedy, where freaking Dante is trapped in purgatory and trying to escape so he can go to heaven so he can meet with his wife.
Yeah. Regardless, the fact that they haven't done a game like that before, but they have done callbacks to that game in other games, God of War mainly.
Yes.
But would be a cool game. I would definitely play that. The story alone would be fun to play.
The only time I've ever seen Odysseus in a video game is in the Dynasty Warriors games because Dynasty Warriors made a Greek mythology game.
Oh, I remember that.
Warriors of Troy, I think it's called. It was their first M-rated game I think it's their first one in the Dynasty Warriors. And Odysseus was one of them, along with Achilles, and I can't remember what other Greek heroes were in there, but it was a very brutal.
Odysseus also in Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Yes, he was.
I mean,
he was mentioned in.
Oh, okay, because I played the game like
he
a
was
little bit.
mentioned in, yeah. Right. But he was also mentioned in God of War as well.
Yeah, because you can't have any Greek mythology games without at least mentioning Odysseus.
Well, that's how prominent he was in their mythology.
Him and Achilles were comrades. They were on the same level.
Yeah. Either way, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Odysseus was Achilles' equal.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that Achilles had that invulnerability minus the heal, but they were
equally skilled.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, he was good. I didn't know he was that good.
He was that good. Yeah. You want to go next, Matt, or you want me to go next?
I can go next.
All right, go for it.
I've kind of been wanting to talk about this. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Let's hear it.
All right, so one of my favorite horror stories of all time is Red Dragon.
Horror stories?
Horror. You whore.
Go for it.
And the reason why I chose Red Dragon to make that into a video game is because this is how it would be. You could either play as Will Graham, which Will Graham, if you're not familiar with the Hannibal series at all, he is a consultant for the FBI. And he becomes an agent and all that other stuff. But he is incredibly smart, but also he has a way of getting into a killer's head, and that's what he can kind of recreate what happened when he looks at a crime scene.
Okay.
He can really get inside their head, and in the story of Red Dragon, he's the one that caught Hannibal Lecter.
Ooh. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and the story between those two is that before Hannibal was revealed to be the serial killer that he was. He is a psychiatrist, and he was actually Will's psychiatrist.
Yeah. So what would the game consist of? How would it play?
Okay, so it would follow the story of the book and or movie, And so you would either play as Will or as Francis. Francis is the Tooth Fairy. He's the killer that Will comes out of retirement to get.
But how would the game play? Would you
I'm
do
getting
it like
there.
Tales, like the Tales stories, or something else?
It'd be like a puzzle game, kind of like L.A. Noire, but better.
Okay.
Or Heavy Rain.
Or Heavy Rain.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, Noir would be a decent one because it's a story-based game with actual mechanics that you work on.
Yes.
You can take on different cases while you're progressing to the main story.
But so if you play as Will, you have to track down the Tooth Fairy, and you have to figure out how he does each crime, right? And then, or you can play as the Tooth Fairy, and depending on the game, like depending on like how well you execute your murder, like how much evidence you leave behind and things like that will determine like how fast the game, like the AI of the game catches up with you.
Oh, okay. That's
so like
cool.
You would have to or like like if you're playing as Will, you gotta really look for those clues in order to solve the case. And also, do you guys all remember the online for Hitman?
Yes.
No.
Okay, for the online for the Hitman, Omar, the way it worked was that a player would set up a scenario, and you would have to complete that scenario. So, like for the online for this, what I was thinking of doing was that one person can play as Will, and the other person can play as the Tooth Fairy or Francis.
Okay. No, I mean that makes sense because one, you get the two outcomes, and it's you against the AI in both scenarios. So you either get away with it or you catch the bad guy.
Yeah, and then now with online, you would have to, if you're going to be Will, you have to figure out like the player, like figure out what they did, how they did it, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then so like if you're playing against a friend, you could see like it'd be really interesting to have that kind of like that competitiveness of using your brain.
Yeah. If you ever get the chance, Matt, play the game called Murdered Soul Suspect.
I have that game.
That exactly the way you're talking about, that game plays exactly like that because you
have to solve your own murder.
You have to solve your own murder, but you have to use detective work. At the same time, you're still doing things that have to help the person trying to solve it. But at the same time, you're also looking for clues and doing all that. It's a story-based game, but it has gameplay mechanics that basically let you do a little bit of exploration. So if they were to do game style like that for that, I think that would pair well with it.
I don't think, like, as far as like thriller or horror games go, I don't feel like there's like enough puzzle elements to them.
Well, the Telltale games were the prominent ones, but they died out because I guess not enough people bought them. They did it with also Batman.
Yeah, but that's and I take back the thing of puzzles because like RE franchise has a shit ton of puzzles. But what I meant more was,
would you call those puzzles?
They are puzzles.
Like, what I would call them.
Okay, you having to figure out. You need to take the shotgun and replace the other shotgun and things like. But what I mean is like detective work.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Detective work where you have to use actual forensics. Like dusting for fingerprints.
So the Arkham detective mode with Legend of Zelda type puzzles?
Give or take.
Like if you played L.A. Noire, you would know what we're talking about.
L.A. Noire has very in-depth forensic style gameplay.
The first thing you do, there's a shooting in L.A. Noire, right? And so you and your partner walk down the alleyway and you pick up clues. You look for like stains on a glass bottle,
like fingerprints. You can dust for fingerprints,
and then you look up and you look around and you see off the reflection of the window, the gun on the opposite roof.
Exactly,
and so you go
vantage
up there,
points and whatnot.
Yeah, and then you go and then you find the gun and you bring that gun to a gun shop. And the gun shop
match the ballistics
to match the not just the ballistics, but like the registration of who owned that firearm. Yeah. So there's not enough of that in the video game world.
No, that's solely dedicated to that. Like games will have like sections where you do that. Mm-hmm. Like in Arkham, there are sections, especially in Arkham City. There are sections where you are doing mostly detective work and you're solving an actual crime. But it's just segments of the game. Like this one being a fully dedicated one. One, not only do you have multiple cases that you can work, right? Because you can throw in even stuff related to the universe where that takes place. Because there's an expanded universe.
Yeah, Will has a huge case file closed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like his close rate was really good.
Yeah, your obvious main story would be the one finding what's his name,
the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, but everything else you can have a couple of and you can even have certain cases pop up because of certain things that happen.
Yeah.
So it would be a lot of fun.
Also, like based on your actions, like throughout the course of the game.
Oh yeah, multiple endings.
Multiple endings, and like if you're Will and you make a mistake, like depending on that mistake, that could cost someone their life. Mm-hmm. So like,
well, in LA Noire, if you did certain things, certain characters did die. Mm-hmm. Like there's one where you're in the tunnels, and if you don't get out of there fast enough, it floods and it kills your partner. Oh, I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that part.
That was a tough part because I was like, "Damn it, I wasn't aware of that." So I restarted the whole thing.
But like, also like, if you don't properly do the investigation, you don't catch a killer on time. Mm-hmm. Like,
and that's why
the next victim, And
then that's why I think if you use the murder sole suspect gameplay, that would work for that, because you can canvas an area, and if you miss anything that could be crucial down the line, that changes the ending. So it would be a cool game. It would be a very interesting way to play. And it would make you think.
Yeah, and also being a killer, if you decide to play as the Tooth Fairy, you get complete creative control of how you
place the bodies, what clues, quote unquote,
and how you kill them. Mm-hmm. So like you can go in, sneak into the house, grab the knife off the counter, and start slitting throats. Yeah. But that's going to leave a lot of blood that you're going to have to clean up.
Exactly.
And plus, if you guys are familiar with Dexter, blood splatters everywhere. Yeah. Like it'll get into
you can miss it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
sometimes in the weirdest areas, like in one murder case that I read about a long time ago, they somehow found blood splatter behind the TV. How it got like that, who knows? But it got there, and they were able to solve. Yeah, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. The viscera can spray anywhere. It's very interesting.
But also like
kind of like when a Gundam part flies out of nowhere.
Yeah, but also it's like, but it's also like if you're gonna play as the killer, like how much time do you spend stalking?
Exactly.
Because like, do you learn your victim's routine, or do you just like
break in and
start murdering?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the other thing too. A mission can go bad if you don't canvas your victim enough, because let's say you go in half cocked and you try to murder them right there, but this guy, let's say it's a bodybuilder or something, and he overpowers you. You just failed your mission right there. Yeah, actually, that would be a cool game, and like I said, it would make you think not just on the way to solve the mystery, but even how to kill your guy. Which, you kind of think about it, it's kind of like maybe
we're aspiring people to be murderers.
Like, no, but dude, okay. For the record, there's a lot of crap that inspire people. Like the case file shows that women love to binge on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that gives them ideas. So
I mean,
this would indulge people in that, and I think that is a cool way. Like, okay,
it's always fun to.
We're in a society where we're governed by rules. We have to control our emotions and our urges and our impulses. But when there's something that gives you that release, it's always cool. Like if you ever played the game Detroit Become Human, it tells you the options that everybody picks, and some of the options make you wonder. I'm like, dude, they
picked up some these people
picked up these options, like letting the girl die or you getting raped is crazy, dude. So if you do that with that as well, that'd be trippy, dude. That would be a cool game. They should make that game. That would be
yeah, but
like just and then upload the way you murder somebody. That would be crazy.
It would be.
Getting your jollies off there.
Omar right here. No, Omar right here would have like the most creative crap right there.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know. Maybe there's a side of me nobody's ever seen. But
no, but hearing you talk about how the game is, it's just make me think they could make 7 into a freaking video game as well.
Yeah. Cool, yeah, but
or expand on that.
Hell yeah.
But like DLC. I mean, it's a like you getting to play with the darker side of humanity and look at it is fun.
There are not that many games that explore that. I mean, I know we're supposed to keep that on the side, but there's just something about indulging it, even though you'd never do it. You know, just that release can sometimes. And honestly, I feel like
it's it's the morbid curiosity,
the macabre, yeah.
And
we all have it.
We all do.
Yeah. I don't care who you are, you have it.
We all have a fascination with death.
Yeah.
But as long as you're like not actually out doing this stuff, then it's fine. It's entertainment. It's a fucking video game. So all you fucking social justice warriors out there,
anybody says violent video games do not make you violent. You're too busy being violent in the video game to be violent in the real world.
Yeah.
But I would play that. I would like try to do some insane, tricky like eliminations and then trying to solve anything as quickly as I can, or even trying to that could be something too. Catching him in the act.
Yeah.
If you get enough clues and evidence to know where he's gonna strike, getting to the crime scene before it even happens, that'd be cool.
How about this idea? Okay, so you know how there's those games where you play as the killer, and then there's another group or like a team playing the survivors.
That would be cool online mode.
Yes. So one of you is the detective solving the murder of
an interesting 1v1
online player.
It would be an interesting 1v1 because you have to. Okay, so here's the way I would lay it out. The map consists of victims, right?
So kind of like
the murderer has to pick the victim, and the detective has to figure out who the victim is, and that's the game.
That's actually really good. So you get 2 online modes.
Yeah.
You get the one where you got to compete against your friend to see who's smarter and like who's better at either committing murder. Who solves
the case first or something like that.
And then you got the group effort one.
Yes, where you can play as multiple detectives, canvassing and doing your due diligence. But the victim already the murderer already know who's going to kill.
And plot twist. You can choose, if you're the killer, you can choose the detective that's investigating you to be your victim.
That would add another level to it because on top of you as a detective trying to figure this out, you have to watch your back because you could be...
Or watch your partner.
Watch your partner as well, especially if it's if it's a 1v5, that would make very interesting because let's say you're with your partner.
Kind of but you also got, if it's going to be a 1v5, it has to be kind of like how you do it.
Task force versus the murderer.
Yes. Or like, I was going to say Among Us. When you enter the lobby, nobody knows who the killer is.
Well, in this one, you don't know where the killer is and where he's going to strike. So that's the Among Us aspect right there. So you having to figure it out, who he's going to hit, when he's going to hit. Granted, there's gonna have to be a time limit. I'm guessing like 10-15 minutes would be more.
I'd say
enough.
Maybe 20 minutes.
That's more
especially if you want to be methodical as the killer.
But during that time, just having to figure that out, and you as the murderer having to prep, because you're not just you just don't pick somebody and then like go kill him.
I would say at the load screen, that's when the person who's going to be the killer picks their victim, and then during the gameplay at the beginning, that's when you start making your preparation.
Oh yeah, you can even make it so. Let's say you're the killer, and you're leaving clues that indicate you're going to kill this person, but in reality, you're going to kill this person.
A red herring.
A red herring, yeah. I think we're getting a little too into this.
Well, stuff like, I don't think anything like this really exists.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And because of the stigma behind it.
It's not just that. I think it's also because maybe the limitations of hardware, maybe, or at least the lack of creativity in the developers.
Yeah, and also.
But if you look at the game Predator, and that's actually a great.
Which Predator game? Concrete Jungle or Hunt?
The one
Hunting
that came
Grounds.
out recent, Hunting Grounds.
Okay.
So in that one, you can play one of 3 ways. If you're the military squad, you can just get to the end and then exfiltrate.
Yeah, but which we've done that.
But if you're the predator, you can either stalk your prey and kill them before they get to that, or even wait till the last minute and kill them as they're waiting for the exfil. That's something you can do with that game. Like you can wait until the detectives are getting close to the murder victim, and then switch it and kill one of them, or you can try to kill your victim as fast as you can. So there's no wrong way to play that game.
But also, depending on your choice, it'll either reduce or increase risk.
Oh, yeah. Let's say if you try to go after a woman, it's probably going to be a little bit easier than going to a male.
Or unless she has a gun in her purse.
Or if you're trying to go after a detective, it's going to be much harder because, one, they'll probably have abilities that will help them be protected. And, of course, they're armed.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, if it's gonna be like a 5v1 kind of thing, and with a task force, it's gonna have archetype characters where you pick one of the characters. They have specializations in certain fields.
Exactly.
And then I guess from there, like, customize the character to make it look.
You have deputies that are just armed with guns, a vest, whatever, and you have your detective who can search for clues. And you can even have somebody who does radio surveillance, where they're in a van, they're canvassing
tech
areas.
support kind of stuff, or.
This game needs to be made now.
Hell, it is. It doesn't even have to be a Red Dragon IP.
It could be anything, dude.
But I really like the story.
No, you can add the story. Start off with that could be your base, and then just bring in a bunch of other stuff, like.
Or it could be its own IP, but they bring in the Red Dragon as like a DLC kind of thing.
I don't know if you guys ever played these board games called case files. Jen and I like playing them.
I've seen them around.
They give you actual case files to solve. Now, if you can implement that in the game, that'd be fun. But
yeah, well, I mean, I would still keep it as a Red Dragon IP.
We'll start it off with the Red Dragon,
with the story.
The expandability on that is massive because you can do Buffalo Bob. You can do, you could do the Scream guy. You know, you can
Ghostface.
Yeah, Ghostface. Yeah.
But Dead by Daylight, is it Dead by Daylight?
No, but this isn't. They're trying to escape the killer.
They know that's true.
This is you trying to solve a case. You're trying to solve a murder.
That would seriously be a very good like online co-op game.
Hell yeah!
Especially like for people like us being the task force stopping the killer, we could pick our own specializations.
Because one, not only does it make you really use your mental acuity, your team building would come into play. If you have somebody going to like, no, this is what we're gonna do, you're gonna lose.
Oh yeah.
But if you have a coordinated team who knows whose roles it is, they're gonna work and they're gonna be able to either figure out who he is or where he's going, and they're gonna nail that son of a bitch.
Yeah,
like in real life. Just like in real life.
Yeah, because like you could get the same like the same information, the same what's the case files?
Yeah.
But each character archetype sees different clues.
Exactly.
Like so, your screen, even though we're looking at the same files, your screen might be different from my screen because we're different character types.
Right.
Dude, like even like. It's crazy it would sound. I feel like this would be a good training simulator for up and coming detectives as well.
It probably would.
Yeah, like just thinking of the aspects, the applications of this, that would make a great game, dude.
And like I said, like the reason why I would like something like this is there's not enough detective games.
There really isn't,
and there's not enough puzzle games like that. I like have that cat and mouse deal with it.
Oh yeah.
Like having a cat and mouse type of thing going on, that raises the stakes so much more on both sides, because like if you're the killer, you don't want to get caught.
And you know what's cool about the game too? Let's say you the victim, the murderer has already a victim. If you don't save the victim, that's it. There's no, you can't restart the game. You can't go back.
You can't restart the mission.
You have to continue and try to catch this guy before he strikes again.
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna be.
You really knocked it out of the park with that, man. That's a great idea. Like
video games and horror, my two favorite things.
Yeah, Jen would love that.
Actually,
game.
I'll play with that.
Dude, we would play that game.
Yeah, we'll be playing it almost every day because it doesn't even have to be online. We could be playing the game.
It's a different story every time.
Yeah, the murder will be AI generated, and we'll just be trying to solve the cases.
Oh yeah, that's great. And the more players you have, the easier it is. You know? But yeah, way to knock it out of the park with it, man. You should have gone last. Because mine is not really. I don't feel like it would be that big of a hit. But the only reason I would want it to be made into a game is because of the replayability.
Okay.
And the one I have to be turned into a game is Gary Paulson's The Hatchet.
The Hatchet.
So if you haven't read that book,
I remember.
It's
a lot like
kid who he crashes in the Alkali Mountains during winter. And he has to basically survive before he gets picked up.
That's a great book.
That's a great book.
Never read it.
Probably one of the few books I read for pleasure.
Well, I didn't read it for pleasure. It was
a school assignment.
It was a school assignment, but like I already enjoyed reading in the first place, even back then. Yeah. And then love the school assigned books where the stories are kind of crappy, but this was one. This and The Giver were like two books I really enjoyed.
Yeah, but the premise of the game that I would want to be, and part of the reason I would want it to be a replayable game is because even though the story's the same, you crash, you have to survive, let's say 5 days before you get found. It would be different every time simply because it would be auto-generated. 1, different time of the season. 2, different wildlife. And 3, even different locations. So let's say you crash near the lake. You have water, you have open areas, so you're not as exposed. Or let's say you crash in the middle of the woods. You're stuck in there. You can't move too far because you can either get attacked by an animal or succumb to an injury. A lot of things would come into factor, and the season would be the number one thing that I would want to be the center focal point, because if you crash in the winter, guess what? It's going to be a lot harder to survive. If you crash in the summer, you're going to have a little more difficulty because, 1, if you're not near a body of water, the heat, mm-hmm. You can die from heat exhaustion.
So basically it's a roguelike survival game.
Yes. And if you've ever played any games that are auto-generated every time you play through it, that's kind of the premise I want, because I like playing those games because no playthrough is ever the same.
Oh, have you played The Forest?
Yes, I played The Forest. One game I actually like playing a lot, and I played it multiple times, called Into the Breach. It's not even old. It's an indie game, and basically it's a mech strategy game where you have to. It's kind of like Fire Emblem.
Okay.
Where you have to put your suits in specific areas, and every playthrough is different, and then there's permadeath.
Front mission.
Yeah.
What's it? Grid RPG?
Yeah, Grid RPG. So this one would be a little more like first person. But it would have the RPG style. You have your hatchet. That's the one thing you have every time is the hatchet. 2, you can also salvage parts from the plane, use it as a shelter. 3, you can fashion weapons like a bow, maybe a tent or a spear so you can fish. And of course, you can probably thread your clothes, make a line. You need to go hunting, which means you need to get food. You can use everything of that animal, the pelt, the bones, whatever, obviously eating it. One other thing you would need to worry about is infection. Let's say you're running around and you trip and you hurt yourself. 1, if you hurt yourself, you can snap your ankle or break it, or even get scratched. You have to worry about infection. All of that would be a factor. Like, you would need to literally use your wits to survive that time limit until they find you. And even then, let's say you hear a helicopter around. You need to find a way to flag that helicopter down. So knowing how to start a fire, getting kindling, all that stuff would come into play.
What about a flare gun? Like,
if you can find a flare gun in the plane, because that is your hub, the plane crash.
So what you're saying that when you start the game and you're at the plane, mm-hmm. go through it. Don't be lazy and just grab things and then
depending
wander
on
out.
How you want to play, you can either search the plane thoroughly, or you can leave and go off and explore. However you want to play it, but that's going to determine your survivability. What were you going to say, Omar?
I was going to say, well, first of all, are you able to go back to the plane?
Yeah, because you're in the plane when it crashes. The game always starts with you waking up in the crashed plane. So you have 2 choices. You can either look around, check the area, see if there's anything you can find. Given that there's different areas to crash, if you crash in the lake, however, that's when you lose the plane. And since it's auto-generated, it's different every time. If you crash on top of the mountain, since it's so cold, you have to leave a lot sooner because you're going to die of exposure. Or if you land, let's say...
hypothermia.
Let's say you crash, but the plane is somehow stuck in the top of a tree line. Guess what? You have to get down. So you might not be able to leave with a lot of supplies. And also, over-encumberness is going to be a factor as well, just like in Fallout. You can't carry that much stuff. Unless you fashion like a backpack, or you maybe make not a dolly, but something you can drag stuff. Mm-hmm. That's gonna determine how much you can carry.
A sled, pretty much.
But keep in mind, you're not alone. You're in the woods. You can come across a bear, a mountain lion, even wolves.
Would carrying meat on you attract predators?
Yes, it would.
I was gonna say that this game sounds like a mix between The Edge, The Gray,
Yes.
And what you call it, Oregon Trails.
That's yes. Oregon Trail was my main focus for that one because I wanted something like Oregon Trail.
You died of dysentery.
It's such a great game, and that's another thing too. You drinking water that you haven't boiled, guess what? You might get sick or die. Yeah, in that premise of you surviving and you getting to play as a kid from that book, I forget his name, and then just having to wait to be found, and I guarantee you, not a lot of people are gonna make it through that first playthrough. I guarantee it if it's big, because you already know how people are. They want to play their own way. They don't really think about it.
Right, and also like most survival games, like I'm not gonna say that they're easy, but they're kind of forgiving,
and they hold your hand a little.
And
bit.
they do.
Yeah.
I mean, the Forest is like the only one I've played in a long time where it doesn't really hold your hand. But like it's also, those games are also about seeing how long you can survive,
and that's the premise of this game.
But this one kind of is also, but it's like indefinite trying to survive on those games. This one it has a time limit.
Yeah, this one has a time limit. But even then, like I said, let's say you do hear a rescue plane coming by. If you're not near a place where you can flag them down, or you don't have something that can flag them down, guess what? You just missed your window.
And do you know what I just thought of? That of the book My Side of the Mountain. It's very similar to it, but the only difference is that the kid in the book, he lives in like New York City or something like that, and he decides to run away from home to live in the Catskill Mountains.
Oh wow.
And so he decides to go and like survive in the mountains in that book.
Okay.
So
okay. I mean, it's not like that. This one, you just have to survive to get found. But at the end of the day, each playthrough would always be different. It would be auto-generated. You would never get the same playthrough. Maybe similar areas, but you can always have a denser wildlife encounters. You can also have more weather that just is more relentless. Like it'll be hotter certain days. There'll be a lot of rain certain days. Just managing hunger, your body temperature, and just health. Those are the three aspects that are going to help you get through the whole playthrough. And then even that, let's say you're in the plane and you're able to recover the radio. If you can find a way to fix it, you could probably end the game right then and there. And that's one feature that I would want to add, but I don't know if anybody would be smart enough to even look into that. I mean, that would be my first issue. Like trying to work the radio,
or the black box.
The black box, but the black box, it just records at the time. It doesn't give off a signal.
Yeah,
which
but
sucks.
Yeah, but the airplane company will be coming for that thing.
Do they have trackers?
Yeah,
black box?
Yes.
Okay.
Transponders.
Well, there you go. You carry that black box with you. It's a lot easier.
But that's going to be weight. So, Ed, considering this story is based on a little kid surviving, are you going to get little kid hands?
Well, yeah.
In the game,
like your stamina is not going to be as high. You're not going to have the durability of an adult, and you're going to be probably hungry a lot more often.
This sounds like it's going to be it sounds like it's going to be a difficult game.
And that's what I'm saying.
Is there going to be a height scale too?
Yeah,
because
let's say you want to reach something and it's like 5 feet or higher or 6 feet or higher, you're not going to get to it unless you climb. Okay. And even then, that's exerting stamina. That's draining your overall strength. That's all stuff that you're gonna have to manage. It's one of those. It's like Fallout New Vegas on hard mode, basically.
Okay.
Will you be able to? Will there be like an opportunity to change, or not change, but like pick either a child or an adult type character before you start the game?
I mean, if players want to, because the book is based on a kid, and he's not even a kid; he's a teenager, well, a preteen. He's like 12, 13. So if you want to play it as an adult to maybe more survivability, go for it. I'm not going to limit that, because I know players like to challenge themselves in certain ways. And I feel like certain players will be like, oh, if you beat it as a kid, it's better because it's harder. But if you want to play through that's a little more easy, playing as adult might be more beneficial. And of course, I'll add modes where, it won't rain, or you'll have a supply box when you crash, stuff like that, like the Oregon Trail. You'll have a way to lay out how you survive in the beginning of the game. So for instance, let's say you pack a lot of food in the plane when you first take off. Yeah, that food's going to spoil. And guess what? That food's probably going to attract animals. So you have to keep all that in mind. So definitely one of those games is going to make you really use your wits. I feel like we really went with the witty games this time around.
Except for Omar.
No, his too, because you have to figure out how to trick the creatures or your enemies, because you can't just...
You have the option of either outsmarting them or fighting them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so never mind then. I didn't catch that part.
See, this is what happens when intelligent people just think of stuff. The first thing is to use your head. Yeah, we like games that we could turn off our brain and just like hack and slash and just do whatever, you know.
But
like,
when we're immersed in the game with
those are always fun.
Yes.
Like, immersive games that really make you think are always fun.
Oh yeah, especially like it may not seem like it. Armor Core makes you think.
Yeah, because you got to find the right parts. You got to build a strategy. You got to
and like strategy. What helps with that too is that you're able to change things on the fly, so you can strategize on the fly.
Yeah. But just games in general that make you think, I feel like those games don't get enough appreciation, or there's not enough of them. But
like Little Nightmares is it's a great puzzle game.
Yeah, I heard that. There's also side scrollers with the same aspect where you have to explore
Apes Odyssey.
You have to explore the entire area before you can move on. Otherwise, if you miss something, it can come back to bite you in the butt. You know, like the Castlevania games, the side scrollers. If you miss certain things, it can hurt you.
Or like in the very early like for the Nintendo Metal Gear Solid games.
Oh yeah.
Like
even the later iterations only made you think. Like there were ways, like for instance in Snake Eater, when you were fighting the ghost guy, he killed me like 5 times before I finally realized that I had the revival thing on my tooth.
That's just you forgetting. But like what I mean is like in like I think it was like the first one for Metal Gear Solid on Nintendo, is that you needed a gas mask to make it across this place. But it was like
that was on the SNES one.
Yeah, but you have to find that like way before. And make sure you don't lose it. Exactly. Because when you get to that point, you're going to need it.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I mean, games that make you think are always fun. And we, case in point, we obviously like those kind of games. So if those games can get turned, like all 3 of those games, I feel like would be a lot of fun to play. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. Folks, if you have any ideas of books you would like to see turned into games, let us know. You can reach us on Instagram at the Media Buff Guys. Comment below if you're watching on my YouTube channel. Let us know of any ideas you may have or what you think of our ideas. And if you're listening on Spotify, just give us a like and drop a follow on our podcast there.
And also, subscribe.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if they ever do like when they give us their ideas, we should probably do a podcast and
100%, yeah, like
because I want to be able to talk about
we're on that we're on on the IG page for the Media Buff Guys. We're on there every day. We get notified when we get any kind of interactions. So if you want to reach us there, it is public, so you can DM us. Just whatever you want to talk about, reach out to us.
Keep your dick pics to yourself, people.
Send them all to Matt.
Please keep it, civil, but reach out to us. We'll definitely answer you. We're on it. We're trying to post more, but definitely let us know what you think and start a dialogue with us. We'll definitely chat with you guys.
Yes, we will.
Heck yeah. But in the meantime, we'll talk to you next time. So everybody say bye.
Goodbye, people.
Have a good night. See you soon.
Have a wonderful night.
Sweet dreams.
Adios, muchachos.